We live? And we are live.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. Well, today we have got a forecast, but unfortunately we do not have Mel. He is traveling today. So I am joined today. I'm Elisa V, and I'm joined by Frank Mancini, Mike Barra, and Laura Eisenhower. And we've got a bunch of stuff for you guys today. What we try to do here is we try to collect some of the latest and greatest news going on. We know you guys don't have that much time, so we try to pull a lot of this stuff together and then make an interesting discussion out of the videos that we pull together. So that's what we're going to do today. How are you guys doing?
Good. I'm good. It's another Monday,
Good.
Another day.
Happy
to be here. Happy to be breathing.
Yes, as we all should be. All right, so I thought we would start because I know like we've got some really meaty stuff we want to get into, but I thought, why not? We have a little fun here. And we'd start with one of my favorite subjects, the Federal Reserve. And I've got a couple of videos here. I'm going to queue them up. And I've got Mike waiting to see if he can help me if I screw this up. Okay, so the first one here, we are going to... So I think I'm supposed to, this is very different when you're the host. There's Ron.
Do the share thing. There we go.
Hey, Ron.
There's Ron. Do the share thing.
We
can hear you.
Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Because I can't hear you yet. I'm trying to fix my sound, my inbound.
Yeah, you're a little low, but we hear you. Okay, so it's present, right, Mike?
Yeah.
All right, Ron, you just jump in when you're ready. We're going to start with some videos because I know you're unlimited time, and I think Frank, if I'm not mistaken, is. So I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump off at the top of the hour.
Yeah. So let's see what we got here. All righty, and the first one I've got here.
It's the little plus in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, now I'm just looking for the video, the first video. Sorry, guys. I am sorry. I have like 20 different things here that I want to play today. Let's see.
That's too many, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's not really. That was an exaggeration, but all right, here we go. Okay. Can everybody see that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All righty, we're going to try that again. I'm sharing screen.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm clicking on it, but I'm not sure why. Let's see.
Here, you want me to do it?
Yeah, I would. Thank you.
All right, share screen. This is from Twitter X.
Yep, I think it's Coach JV.
Yep. Oh, hang on.
Sorry, guys.
As the host, you have to share that. You have to bring him into the room. Okay. Yeah, where it says the second Mike Barra I'm in the background. You have to share.
Got it.
There we go. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Now we're almost there. The trillions of dollars are going to come into the economy. They're going to end up lowering interest rates here very soon, and these markets are going to fly. Why is this becoming more and more viable? Why should you pay attention? There's key factors that people don't understand that have happened that are starting to look more and more like places like Dubai. So number one is America created a sovereign wealth fund. That's a key indication right there. Trump has stated that we shouldn't be taxing our citizens. We should be tariffing and taxing other nations. So number one, he created a sovereign wealth fund, which is done. He dropped the tariffs on countries around the world. And in August, he's going to bring in trillions of dollars into America. If you go out to Dubai, they have a sovereign wealth fund. They don't tax their citizens, and they make sure their people are thriving. That's what I believe is going to happen from August to the back end of 2025. You're going to see interest rates drop. Trump is going to bring trillions of dollars into the economy. The markets are going to fly. And I wouldn't be shocked that he keeps promises made, promises kept. Because if I'm doing this video today, he just fired 25% of the IRS. So we have the Sovereign Wealth Fund. He's bringing trillions of dollars into our country.
You said that
tariffs on other countries. And he's stated that we should be taxing other people, not our citizens. And today they fired 25% of the IRS. Buckle up. You understand how to position yourself. You could be the generational shifter in your family. But if you don't understand how an inflationary dollar works and you get caught on the liability side of this, get ready for massive inflation as we go into 2029 and 2030. Warriors!
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. If you shrink that again, take it out. Elisa can take it out, and then we can put it back in. We do the next video.
Oh no. Mike's going to, I just want to tell you that Mike's going to kill me because I think I just say, I'm sorry, guys. I should not be the host here. Mike should be because I'm so bad with technology. So, yeah, we got to wait for Mike to come back in. I don't even know if he knows he's kicked out.
Did you kick in from the studio?
I did. I thought I was minimizing the video we just had. So I'm going to wait for him to come back.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
I shouldn't be laughing. Anyway, what are your thoughts, guys, on that last video?
You took the wrong person off the screen there, Elisa, but okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, this is all well and good, but, Trump was telling people, there was this clip of him I played last week on my Tuesday night news show where he's talking about, you guys are going to be really happy if you're an American citizen on August 1st. We're going to start payments. Well, we're 3 days away from that. There's no payments. He's backed off the talk of it. So, I hear Trump saying a lot of things. I don't actually see much in the way of results. And the bottom line is, yeah, they can use the tariffs and things like that as an excuse, and Doge savings as an excuse to start what are basically Nasara payments for people. But, again, that was red hot a week ago, and now he's completely backed off of it. And he's not talking about it at all. So count me skeptical on this crap. Believe me, the RV could finance all of this. And that's what I think he's talking about. But now that appears to be put off for whatever reason, for whatever length of time. We just don't know. Could be tomorrow, could be another 6 months. I don't know. So, I hear this talk. I'm just not impressed by it at this point.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Well,
when you say, the RV has been pushed off, like we've sort of been kicking this can for a long time, right?
Should have happened months ago, years ago. Definitely should have happened 2 Mondays ago when everything was set and it was suddenly stopped by Donald Trump at the last minute. Then it was stopped by Iraq last Monday. God knows why it's not happening this Monday, because Monday's a great day to do it. So, what happens is people keep coming in and interfering, and their greed and, desires to control this or stop this keep interfering, and it could have been forced. The IMF and the BIS right now can force this through anytime they want, and they keep not doing it because nobody has the balls to take the responsibility for this very dramatic change. But Laura, I'd like to check with you. I mean, is August a month of greatly increased prosperity for the United States in our chart or not? I mean, that'll tell us whether we're going to move forward with this stuff or not. What do you get, Laura? You're muted, hun.
Definitely prosperity. I mean, Uranus moving out of Taurus. Taurus has lots to do with abundance and material possessions, wealth, anything relating, to money. Now it's moved into Gemini. So the wrecking ball of Uranus, which is the great liberator, has to do with, communications. I mean, there's a lot of changes taking place, massive layoffs, I think 30% of the staff have been like
off at the IRS, and
and the Fair Tax Act, right, to abolish the IRS.
Right.
I mean, even though these things we know they're there, and we're not maybe seeing outside confirmation, everything is in alignment for this emergence. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It's there's going to be squared aspects to some of this, and when there's squared aspects, it means there's interference, there's infiltration, there's but it's not going to go over. It's not going to go away overnight, but it's rapidly shrinking. That's for sure. And
And then Trump also visited the Fed this week, and slapped her own.
We have that video. If you want to cue that up, that's Echo. That's. I was just going to say that might lead right into that because then that becomes a little. I often wonder if when we know some of these things are supposed to happen, is he torturing people? Like, is he? I mean, obviously we get affected, but is he torturing people with saying things and then pulling back people that think they're going to be part of this, but really in the end aren't?
The only people he's torturing right now are the people that are supposed to be on his side. So I wish he'd just get the fuck on with it and finish this thing off. We've been waiting for 7 or 8 years now for him to do something, and something truly asymmetrical, like arrest Barack Obama. Even though that's now common since they arrested him, I'm just, we're all kind of sick and tired of the games. Let's either get serious or just admit we're not doing this and we're not really going to change the country. And I'm just a controlled opposition deep state lackey, Don. Just get with it, one or the other. Frank, you look like you have something you want to say about this, but go ahead.
No, I trust you, Mike. I think things are going to change. I think we are experiencing the complexity of the transition, right? So we are shifting, and I learned this a lot from your podcast and painting a picture. And the picture to me we are transitioning from a wealth-based taxation where we are taxing wealth, which is very corrupt, and it's very easy to manipulate because people that have a lot of money can afford lawyers and can afford to kind of escape the system, looking at the different codes, and others that don't have that refined understanding of the law and the regulations, they get to be taxed more than the rich. However, when we have this wealth transfer, the only thing that makes sense administratively is to create a taxation on wealth consumption, on the consumption of the wealth, not on the accumulation of the wealth. So that's the basic shift that we are going to go through. And I think there's so many complexity that the taxation on consumption has to be in place first before the transition to a new financial system and a transition to a wealth that's going to be accumulated more and more by United States citizens and people that are rightfully in this country, and they can be in a position of advantage rather than, if you introduce this new financial system without a infrastructure that can tax people the right way, which is going to be on consumption. Mm-hmm. Which is the fairest way of doing it. Tax people on what they spend, not on what they accumulate. Because the moment you tax people on their accumulation, you're destroying them because it's easily corrupt. Mm-hmm. I might accumulate $1 million and somebody else accumulates $1 million, but the guy that has $1 million has got more lawyers, has got family ties, has got all of this. This guy gets to keep more money than I do. That's not fair. But when you start taxing on consumption, it's fair for everybody. Because if I buy a leather jacket for $1,000, I get taxed on the leather jacket because it's a luxury, and doesn't matter how much I have in a bank, I get the same taxation of somebody else. So that's a fair system. That system has to be introduced, and I think it's being introduced a little bit at a time. Drip, drip, drip. We begin with not taxing over time. We begin with not taxing tips. And eventually, Trump mentioned this so many times, even in his first administration, he mentioned that it was going to do completely away with payroll taxes. Yeah. So, and then you have all these states like California, for example, that's constantly running interference against the federal government. As a small business owner, every year I find myself paying paying more to the EDD because of the money that the state of California owns to the federal government. And guess how they pay that? By taking it out of employers and paying because they took money out and never paid it back to the federal government. And now the federal government wants it back. And instead of doing the right thing and paying from when they had, they used to have more money in the budget. Now, of course, California has no money. Now they spent all of it. And they refuse to do that. And now we are stuck paying that loan that was taken illegally by California. So there's so many problems there. You're right. People are getting frustrated. I think it's a time issue, and I think it's a lot of complexity in the infrastructure that they're trying to address administratively, so that when they pull the trigger, there's no chaos, right? That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, there's going to be chaos anyway. It has to be, because if you're getting rid of the Federal Reserve System we've had for over 100 years, people are going to have a hard time getting used to the new system. Elisa, why don't we put up the other video, share that, and then I want to get Ron in on this. This is the part where Trump visited the Fed, and look, I'm just telling you, he fired a shot across the bow of the Fed. He is definitely setting up to not only get rid maybe of Jerome Powell, but the Fed itself. And it's pretty hilarious when you watch what Trump's actual body language. Hopefully he keeps in here the part where Trump pats him on the back. It's pretty amusing. Let's watch. If it ever starts. It was fine 2 seconds ago.
Of course it was. I do agree, though, with your assessment, Frank.
Holy crap. Come on. Maybe we can play it small.
It's like Mercury in retrograde or something?
Yes.
Well, it might as well go ahead and end the same way. Don't you agree? And then we had yesterday, President Donald Trump visited the Federal Reserve Building.
I think we hear the president. Let's tune in.
With the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. It's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist, or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed.
Look at Powell's face.
The overruns of the expenses, wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't heard that from anybody.
Here it is.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, there you go.
It's got receipts with him, no matter what.
This came from us.
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added entire capital. Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But
So,
it's not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. We expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger. So, any questions?
Mr. President, does
the issue as a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
This is great.
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire them.
Do you think Mr. President gives you cause to do that?
Well, I'm here just really with the chairman. He's showing us around, showing us the work. And so I don't want to get that. I don't want to be personal. I just would like to see it get finished. And in many ways, it's too bad it started. But it did start. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's going to be a real long time. because it looks like it's got a long way to go.
Yes, sir.
So,
President, are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. Other than that, what can I tell you?
I'd love him to lower interest rates. So, I mean, this is shot across the bow. And basically say $3.1 billion. There are state-of-the-art football stadiums that cost less than half of that have opening retractable. What the hell are they spending it on? And again, this is an exposure, I think, Elisa.
Oh,
I think
100%.
He's exposing. Where did all this money go? Because it sure as shit doesn't go into 3 office buildings.
Yes, and the other thing I wanted to say when I watched it the first time, because I watched it a few times, it's so staged, and listen to the language he uses. Under construction. Like, okay, under construction can be very literal, but it's like this whole system, the new system is under construction, right? We're putting it together. We're going to have a new system. I just think that was the most staged thing I ever saw. I think he's giving a lot of information to people who are listening. And, I agree with you, Mike, that, maybe this was supposed to happen, should have happened, could have happened, but I don't feel as, worried, I guess, or bothered by it, because I just feel like things happen in the timing they're supposed to happen in, and that's what we'll do. But I do think, in my humble opinion, that this stuff is all done. We're just waiting for them to just go flip.
Well, I mean, it may have been staged on Trump's part. I don't think Powell had a clue what the hell was going on, and I think he caught him completely by surprise with that extra building that we knew about it. I mean, literally, Jesus, and then the slap on the back. That was like, I was like, that was a little bit intimidating. Ron, what do you think about all this stuff?
Oh, I think it's hilarious. I think it's a bright, shiny object everybody's looking at. I don't think there's any validity to. I do think they are going to lower interest rates, and I think that JV was right. That we're going to see a massive move in the stock market, in the crypto market. But I think they're doing that in advance to get as much people, to get as much money into the pockets of everyday Americans as they possibly can. Mm-hmm. And then those who are intelligent enough to get it over into gold, silver, or cryptos, or things like that, when they do switch the system over, they'll be able to make out. I don't think there's going to be any sort of a transfer of wealth for everybody. I think the transfer of wealth is going to be for those who are paying attention.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to move on to the Obama thing, Elisa?
Yeah, I think there was one more video. I don't know if you have that one. It was.
I don't think we have time for 18 videos. I mean, everybody here.
Let me just say for the audience, because I know I'm probably not. I'm probably in the minority here, but I am not a big Nasara Jesara guy. I think that there's going to be a lot of things that do occur that are going to mimic elements of Nasara. For instance, debt jubilee. I don't think there's going to be an overall debt jubilee, but I do think that if we migrate away from a debt instrument currency and we go into something that is not based on debt, there's going to be a lot of debt that's wiped away. And as a result, people are going to have this jubilee, if you will, because their debt's no longer going to be tied to something. But if you have a house and you've got a mortgage, but that mortgage or that house has value and you haven't paid that mortgage off, I don't believe that there's going to be a debt jubilee on the real estate. I think you're still going to owe something of value to the institution that loaned money to you.
Okay, first of all, they never loaned you money. That's your money that came out of your account.
I get it.
I hear that, but you don't owe them anything. They conned you into it by fraud. So that should vitiate the contract, and they should actually all go to prison.
Well, okay. Well, we can say that all we want, but I mean, and I hear. Trust me, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying I think that we need to be prepared that not everything is going to be like hunky
Right,
dory.
right.
It's not going to be fucking fantasy land, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make.
You're thinking they're going to retain the structures of the old system as much as possible, which is to my mind, Frank and Laura, a one-way ticket to the apocalypse, because the intensity of people's rejection of this system is just going to go on, get more intense. It's going to get worse.
Let me clarify that, because I don't think that it's going to be a total keeping of the system. I think it's going to be an incremental change to where it feels like a portion of the system is being kept, but we change this, and then we change this element of it, and then we change that element of it, and then pretty soon, when it's all said and done, when the entire picture is painted, at that point you're going to see, oh gosh, I guess it was a pretty much wholesale change, but it had to be done in stages. And I think there's a lot of people in our community who just want it all done all at one time. I mean, I hear it from all my not honestly old people, but the people that are people that watch my channel, a lot of them, most of them are going to be my age or older, and they're so fucking impatient. They want to rest now. And they don't realize that, when you're baking, when you're doing a painting, or you're baking a cake, or you're making cookies or whatever, there's an order of operations that have to be done. And you can't, when you start, if you're baking chocolate chip cookies, you don't freaking start with chocolate chips. That's the last thing you put in, right? So, everybody, and I think a lot of people have have a misunderstanding of how things have to transpire, and they're so burnt out and so impatient, and they want to see something now. And the vast majority of the people that are burnt out, they've only been awake for 3 or 4 years. Shit, I've been awake for 20. And you want to talk about being burnt out, it's like I'm ready for this stuff to happen too. So don't, by no means, don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, I think people need to prepare themselves to look, good things are going to happen, and take the small victories where they come, and then there's going to be more victories, and they're going to start to compound on each other. So anyway, with that said, I'll leave it at that.
No, I hear you, Ron, but I don't think 8 years is being impatient. We've been waiting 8 years for just something like Comey to get arrested for all the things he did.
But how do you know he isn't? That's my whole point.
Because he's still walking around doing talk shows and making money off deals.
Because they would never let someone who did the despicable, treasonous things that half these people do walk around. I find that absolutely unrealistic to think that they would do that. And the point of the matter is, you and I know about this very consciously and very aware, and a lot of our listeners as well, but there are people out there who don't, so they have to show them. These people have no clue what these people have done, and when I'm talking about the unawakened. So do you really think that this is not, that a lot of this hasn't been done? How could they possibly take all these people and then all of a sudden 8 years later start with arrests and start with all, military tribunals? It just doesn't seem realistic. But I think a lot of people like us are just tired. We're tired. We've been watching this. We've been hearing it. But
Elisa, there's a great line in the movie Gladiator, when he's sitting there going to eat his bowl of chili or porridge or whatever the hell it is, and he's hesitant to eat it because he thinks he's going to get poisoned. And the black guy looks over to him and he says, "You have a great name. They have to kill your name before they kill you." And that is exactly what has to happen. They can't just arrest these people without tarnishing their name in these communities who are. You've got to realize the vast majority of the people who are in support of those like Barack Obama and Eric Holder and James Comey and all these people, these are the emotional ones. Right? They're not the logical. They're not the people with logical brains. They're the ones that are emotionally tied to everything. So what you have to do is you have to logically and emotionally neutralize them in the minds of these people if you're going to have success. Because if he just went out there and arrested everybody without doing that, then he'd have probably even a worse chaotic situation on his hands than if he had shown all this stuff. And I think the Epstein list was a bait and switch, and I think it worked out perfectly, because now who's clamoring for all of the all of the files to be released. It's the left. So
Laura, you look skeptical.
Oh, you're muted.
I'm just listening.
Yeah, you look skeptical. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so speaking of wanting to see someone arrested, why don't we move on to the whole Obama stuff? Because that's really been around. We have a few videos. Now, I don't know, Mike, I'm going to let you weigh in on this, but I put them in an order that sort of shows the background, moving into a little bit of where we are and what President Trump is doing, and, just kind of
the thing is, Elisa, is most of these videos are 4 or 5 minutes long. If we sit through the whole thing, it's going to take, an hour.
Say the crazy Dutch, and then we can move on to
there's a couple. So we're going to start with our friend John D'Souza here. If you share that other screen,
that's a perfect one to do.
Yeah, and we'll what I'll do is I'll just try to once we get the main point, I guess I'll stop it and then we can cross talk about it. So let's do this. All right.
2008, something unbelievable happened for us in the FBI. We were getting lots of rumors about this high-level asset that worked for several intelligence agencies at the same time. He worked for the Saudi Intelligence Service. He worked for the CIA, and he was being developed as a political asset in Chicago, Illinois. He was not even a United States citizen, but it was said that he was a student visa and that he was a national from another country. In 2008, everyone in the intelligence structure found out who he was. It was this individual whose name I don't like to say, who became president in 2008 of the United States.
And I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. The office of President of the United States.
One of his code names was Renegade. His real name was Barry Sortoro, but he adopted a different name for his political career. When they ran him for president, the cabal, basically, this was the culmination of so many of their plans for so many years. His mission was to destroy the United States from within, one institution at a time.
Dead on. And then let's go to the other one too, Elisa, because everything about this guy is fake.
Yeah.
Including this is from Jason Whitlock, who's just terrific and cultural commentator. And this was a couple months ago. But if Whitlock is getting this, where at his level of awareness, if he's getting this and buying into it, that means it's reaching fairly deep into the culture.
The chairman of the Obama Foundation just happens to look like your oldest daughter. And his wife, who is a doctor, who is credited with delivering your babies, just happens to look like your youngest daughter. The Obamas aren't blind, and their family and friends, and America's not blind. Somebody has to explain this. It's worthy of an explanation, or you should have got rid of these people. And so literally, like, distance yourself from them. You got rid of Reverend Wright. You distance yourself from him. Don't make this man the head of the Obama Foundation if he looks just like your oldest daughter. And just the whole story. I mean, the woman delivers the baby. This woman delivers the baby and looks just like the youngest baby. Somebody, please.
Okay, so it's Jason Whitlock, who started out as a sports commentator, and wonderful guy, very dedicated, very Christian. Obviously, there's nothing about Barack Obama that's authentic. What our friend John D'Souza talks about is critical stuff. But they even rented their kids because we all know they're a gay couple. Now, I don't think Jason Whitlock realizes the amount of danger he put himself in talking about that. Remember what happened to Joan Rivers?
I was just going to say.
Yeah. Frank, let's start with you. You haven't talked in a while. Let's throw it to Frank and Elisa and Ron.
Well, I have two things. One, I don't know if anybody knows here, but I didn't confirm it, but on X, I know there's a lot of people talking about that the same contractor and the same people involved in the Obama library are the same people involved with the Federal Reserve construction project. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of that going on X, so I don't know if anybody can confirm. The next thing I want to say is what Ron, what you said is right on the money. It's correct, because there's always a disconnect between the map and the territory, always. So, for example, you plan a vacation, you put everything on paper, you do an itinerary, you do all kinds of stuff. But then when you actually do it, it's completely different from where you visualize it was going to happen. You may get a flat tire. You may get to the hotel and the reservation is canceled for unknown reasons. That all kinds of issues. The same thing with what's going on right now with this rearrangement of the global order from what was going to be a one world order to a new global equalization of labor and value. So what they are doing now, what Trump is doing effectively is it's valuing the human beings to be the same value, where a human being in Iraq is valued the same as a human being in the United States or in Indonesia or in Russia or in South America, because the value of human capital, it's been happening for 150 years, where, for example, in the 1950s, a human being in the United States of America was more valuable than a human being in Italy or in France or in England. Actually, no, England aside. England always has been valued more because the sterling pound was about $2.50 back in the 50s. So now we are equalizing everything, not doing an equitable distribution, but doing an equalization of value. And that makes sense, because at the end of the road, we are going to experience a one-to-one connection. As you might speak very often about this, we have a one-to-one connection of value amongst currency throughout the globe. And in order to get to that point, I mean, theoretically, it should take 10, 20 years, but we are doing it in record time. In 6 months, in just 6 months, Trump has almost been able to renegotiate tariffs to equalize labor across almost every single country, at least the most important country. China, Indonesia, Cambodia, and then we have Europe, and then we have some in South America. They still need to come to the tables, most of them. And then eventually we're going to have this overarching equalization that is going to enable the new financial system to get deployed. So there is a huge difference between the map and the territory. We know what the map is. We've known the map for 25, 30 years, especially those that have been ever since Kuwait had the revaluation post the invasion of Schwarzkopf during the Bush administration. And we have that as a template, but now that template is being deployed across the globe. And it's difficult to reconcile, the map, what we think is going to happen, and how actually is going to happen, and it's happening. And it gets frustrated because many of us want it to happen yesterday, But
or 7 years ago,
or 7 years ago, or 10 years ago.
It's fascinating too. Schwarzkopf, which literally means black head in German,
right?
And guess what? The people of Iraq, where he invaded, are called the black-headed people. That was their ancient nickname, the black-headed people. Gee, do you think that was an accident, Laura? Okay, why don't we play the one other Obama video, which is talking about, Obamagate, and then I want to get Laura and Ron in and on this whole thing as well. So
okay,
let's do that. Okay, there we are. Let's play. This is from CNN a couple nights ago.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election.
No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes. Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians
hacked the election.
If you can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it, it casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election. Definitively, Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
All of these intelligence organizations,
17 intelligence agencies,
all conclude that Russia hacked the election.
If we find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election, that is completely impeachable.
This dossier alleged a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian effort to hack the election.
The director of national intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe.
Yeah, I thought that was going to go somewhere. That video didn't really go anywhere.
No, but what it does show is the brainwashing, right? Because it's across all of the mainstream media, and then you have people that they just repeated. But what's so angering about, well, there's so much about it that's angering. But what's interesting is that they keep pounding. If a lot of this is being to wake the people up, right? Because they said they're talking about the past, this most recent election, then you just keep drumming into people those organizations which are they're going to find out, right? Like put it front and center so everybody realizes. And as Ron was just saying, that's where you have to now tarnish, because now people are thinking FBI, CIA.
Right. First thing, let's put all those reporters into jail for 7 to 10 years at a minimum for saying that, because they all knew they were lying. It was a lie when they said it. Then we find out now, of course, that it was all Obama, that the Obama administration has now come out this week with documents that Tulsi Gabbard put out, Ron, clearly show that Obama, it was a conspiracy. And it's interesting because I also like you to comment on Trump saying that, well, he has immunity, even though he committed treason.
Bullshit. He does not have immunity. That's all garbage. First of all, I did want to say that, what we saw right there was Smith-Mundt in perfect action. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act was in perfect there. And I will say that I don't necessarily think that every single one of those people believes what they said. I think it was put down on them to say it on script, on camera, and whether or not they believe it is irrelevant. They have to say it as though they believe it. But I don't, you can't prove that they actually believed it. That said,
but that was not reporting, Ron. That was not reporting.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But those people who go to work, they don't see the scripts ahead of time. There are other people who work on the scripts. They show up, get makeup, go on camera, read the fucking teleprompter. So, what? No, does that mean that they know that it was a lie? No. They very well could know it's a lie. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of these, I think we hold up the people that are on camera on a much higher level because they're the face. When when in reality it's the people behind the scenes that are the ones that are really pulling the strings and telling what gets to go on. Just if you remember the gal that was the investigative reporter who had that story on Epstein. And she came out and she was so freaking angry, and she actually said it on it was either a hot mic or whatnot. But she said, we had everything. I had to get all these people to come out, and I promised them all this stuff, and then they killed the story at the last freaking minute. And so there are people out there who do know how much crap is being put out there. But anyway, getting to the point, I think that this is a coordinated attack. I mean, if you go back to April, May timeframe, that was when I think Trump put on on the Truth Social. He said all roads lead to Obama, and he had a video of all of the all of the the suspicious deaths surrounding Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's just he's been dropping these little nuggets here and there for a while now, and I think we're on the precipice of a lot of these things happening. I don't think it's an accident that Obama is coming out and trying to say things. The fact of the matter is that Tulsi Gabbard is not going to say the things that she said if there's no validity to them, because I mean that puts her in that makes her wide open to a liable case. So and to answer the question about a liability, okay, so here's how it works from a constitutional perspective. The president is immune from prosecution for anything while he's president. All right. Now, that's the whole point of the impeachment process. Think of the impeachment process as a grand jury process. All right. Then it goes to the Senate for a trial. The Senate is where everybody gets to present their evidence, and then the Senate, the people of the Senate, or the 100 U.S. senators, they are essentially the jury, and 2/3 of them have to vote to convict. And if they convict, then all that means is it's not a criminal conviction. It just means that he is now no longer the president.
Well, no, that's actually, I think, Ron, they also have to vote to remove him. They can convict him, but then I think you have to have a separate vote.
All right. That may be. I've never heard that.
One other thing I want to ask you too, which is that isn't he only immune for acts that he does as president in his official capacity, his official legal capacity as president? For instance, treason wouldn't necessarily fall under that.
No,
right?
He's not going to be. No, he's not going to be immune from that. He's immune from doing things that may be morally questionable, but treasonous, that's a total violation of his oath.
Yeah.
So that's a total violation of his oath, and he is not. He is not going to be. I do not believe that he will not face account for treasonous behavior.
Yeah. And, you have to remember something else. I don't know. Like, I have a lot of people that are, they're Trump supporters, but they are so convinced that Obama is so unable to be touched and that the whole world loves him and nobody will ever touch him. And this all has to happen in such a way that he just keeps getting discredited. In the same way everyone was brainwashed to believe how wonderful this, hope and change man was. Mm-hmm. They have to undo all that in the minds of people to really embrace the fact that they were hoodwinked.
Okay. So do you know who Obama reminds me of? Obama reminds me of Karen Bass, just at a little bit younger age. Karen Bass is the mayor of Los Angeles. I did a really, really long article on her on my Substack a couple weeks ago, and man, I was flabbergasted at all of the communist connections that this woman has. And Obama basically has all the not the exact same connections, but very similar connections, at least from an ideological standpoint. And he's not going to I follow a lot of black YouTubers, black conservative YouTubers, and Latinos as well. And you see, but specifically the black people, they are showing just video after video after video of TikTokers and Instagrammers who are coming out and they're just railing against Obama, just calling him, vile names and saying, we're done with you, and you were horrible. And if you really look back at the presidents, I hate saying that Obama was the most corrupt president. I hate saying so and so was the most corrupt president. Almost every single president had something that they did that was corrupt, and and I even include Reagan in that. So the only two presidents going back to the only two presidents that I really, not that I don't have any issues with them, but the two that I like the best are JFK and Trump. And every other one of them I have serious issues with.
Better throw Eisenhower in there.
Laura would not like my take on her grandfather.
Oh no, I bring it because this is why I came in, because I've been working with Eisenhower for a long time, including from the Galactic Realms when he was president, and the amount of negative, false disclosure narratives that have been piled upon this man. I have no bias. I have no reason to defend this person, because if he was dark, I would be exposing it, because in the very beginning, when I started to do conferences, I was exposing what I thought he might have gotten wrapped up in. In 1954, he invaded Dulce underground base to take out the Greys. He warned us in his final speech. He set up the White Hats, the Earth Alliance, Ike's Force, USMC Special Section. I have the whistleblowers, the SSP-20 backers, and the contactees, and everything that has come, on my path. And I was also raised in this family, and there's no Illuminati. The thing is, the unconditional surrender agreement in 1952 under Truman meant that we surrendered to the ICC, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, Draco Alliance, that originated in the 1930s, when we were ready to sell 90% of the population over to off-planet species that was supposed to reach fruition in 2014. So
okay, well, you're gonna so you're talking about things that I can't verify. I'm speaking about things that are done that can be visible on the record.
What I'm trying to say is he had to work covertly with the help of Valthor to set up these positive military units to begin to offset Dark Fleet and some of these other levels of the secret space programs. He ordered an invasion on Dulce. It wasn't successful. This was after Admiral Byrd. This is after Project Paperclip. This is after Unconditional Surrender Agreement. So on the surface, nobody's going to see. And so they laid the blame. Once the deep state and the three-letter organizations got their hooks into the United States governments, all he could do is work covertly and with the help of Valthor. So he warned us in his final speech. What we see on the surface, he didn't sign any treaties with the Greys. That's for certain. So I'm going by evidence. I'm going by skepticism, because I'm not just going to blindly believe anything. But at this point, and I've written a book about it, it's very evident and clear. And also being raised in this family, he was a farm boy. He went to West Point. It devastated his mother, Ida. There's no Illuminati, no bankster, no trust funds. Everybody in this family has worked their butts off. So he was briefed that a descendant would come in and complete his legacy and do what he was not able to do. So I don't care if people like Eisenhower or not, because the truth is going to stand. The thing is, right now, is the control matrix grid that was implanted in the planetary grid network has been dismantled. So right now we're dealing with, almost like if you pull a plant out of the ground, we're dealing with a system now that has no root system anymore. So now it's literally starving because it doesn't have roots to nourish it. And it's dying out because the parasitic aspect of it, that was this overlay artificial construct, has now been corrected. So everything that we're seeing is like something that is dying, but it's still trying to keep up the theater, because that's all it knows how to do. But it doesn't realize that its life force has been cut off, because the harvesting and siphoning technologies have been dismantled. But the thing is, it's down to every individual to win the war on consciousness from within. So anybody can challenge me on Eisenhower. I got that one covered in this.
No, Laura, I was going to tell you the Y-Files did an episode on Ike's visit to the military base in Palm Springs yesterday, and I'd really like you to watch it and get your comments on what you think they got right and what you think.
MJ12 and the three-letter organizations in a lot of these proposed meetings. After the unconditional surrender agreement in 1952, there was 30 levels of top secret above the president. The alien technologies and everything was completely out of his hands. So invading Area 51, attempting to invade Dulce, he was furious. I mean, the guy had 8 heart attacks, and his hands were tied too, because the unconditional surrender agreement meant that if you were to break this agreement, you would be assassinated, murdered. They had like men in black throwing Forrestal out the window. I mean, like, we're dealing with an era where you literally could not breathe truth. Now that's different. So he left.
Why was Forrestal thrown out?
Forrestal was a member of MJ12. He was MJ3. He was the first Secretary of Defense, and he wanted to reveal the alien presence to the world. He felt like the world deserved to know it. John F. Kennedy agreed with him. They were close family friends. Kennedy knew Forrestal very well. And that's part of what got John F. Kennedy murdered as well, was his desire to tell the American people the truth. And it's fascinating, Laura, because when you look at, because last night on the episode of the Y-Files, they played Ike's speech, the military-industrial complex speech. And if you look at that, and then you look at John F. Kennedy's speech, the president and the press, they're basically saying the exact same thing. You have to worry about the secret societies, the military, and the intelligence communities. And that's what we're living through.
Yeah, and that infrastructure was developed in the early 30s when the deep state began to do business with the galactic federations because they had reached warp 1 technologies. Right. That meant that all of a sudden, this larger secret space program, multi-level, operation was going on. So, even though Patton and Eisenhower, people think they didn't like each other, but they did. The reason Eisenhower didn't go along with what Patton, wanted to do is because he was dealing with the Galactic War. He was dealing with the Draco Anunnaki. Eisenhower was aware of this much larger agenda where the Jews have racial theft of that name, the whole Zionist Nazi agenda, all of that. There's a bigger war going on that people don't realize. And so they want to smear him, and hide behind him to say that he was the one who had the executive order ability. He did sign an executive order, though, with the USMC special section to begin this disclosure. And he also appealed to the Guardians with the help of Valthor to put this outer barrier around the planet to corner them and to trap them so that they wouldn't be able to leave and no more dark beings could come in. So I don't care what people think about Eisenhower, but I know who he is. I know who I am.
Right.
And,
whatever I said is I mean, that's
it's not out there. So of course you would, and it should be challenged.
I'm not criticizing you because you have a name.
I totally understand. No. It's
just
so many layers. The minute I reached the unconditional surrender agreement, I lost my YouTube channel for life.
Yeah,
I was banned for life. They do not want this information out there. Nobody would know because the whistleblowers weren't given access to this information.
Right.
So the guy that told me was granted immunities because he was a sword duelist in the secret space programs, and they granted him immunity to be able to expose this stuff.
Who is that?
Dan Cooper, not William Cooper, but Dan Cooper.
Okay.
I'm doing a documentary about him.
So let's try to get out of this one with just a yes or no question. I want to go around and ask everybody: Does Barack Obama face justice within the next year? And by that I mean get arrested, get imprisoned, have his reputation exposed for what he really is. We all know what he really is. Yes or no in the next year? Yes or no? Frank, what do you think?
100%. That's the whole conspiracy investigation that was announced by the FBI and the DOJ.
Okay.
And what you just played, that segment, that's going to be part of the evidence, because through USAID and through other quid pro quo, look, the Democrats have gotten very sloppy, extremely sloppy, because what happened during the last election, the blatant giveaway of millions of dollars to celebrities, and then they never show up nor do a song, do anything, that is clearly against the law. You cannot do a quid pro quo to buy votes. But they've been so sloppy because they threw every rule out the window. When Biden became president, 90% of the bureaucracy within the federal government did not work, did not do anything, and they added 17 to 20% of government workers to the payroll. And when you look at the graphs of employment to make the numbers look good, which then they were discovered, they were like lying through their teeth, employment increased, and most of it was government workers, and then the other part was non-citizen illegal migrants higher, and then we have a negative growth of United States citizens being employed during this past 4 years before Trump took office. So what essentially happened to make it look like they dismayed, Trump comes in and starts firing people because they basically inflated the employment. They already were not doing anything, and they hire more people to do absolutely nothing and get a paycheck and work from home and do whatever. God knows, but most of them had 2 jobs, and they went collecting a paycheck for basically for doing nothing. And all of this shows in the numbers of the past 4 years of all of the different numbers that were provided by CNBC and the federal government itself. All of this is riddled with corruption. what's going to happen is that the investigation is going to show such gross corruption at every level, from the bureaucrats to cabinet members, like, for example, the past Lieutenant Governor Jesara, of which became then basically the human trafficker in chief, because
Javier
he was
Jesara?
the one that created, Jesara. He created the one. He created the one app. I witnessed him speaking to.
Well, he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a representative in California. Then he was a member of the House of Representatives in California. Then he came back to California to be the Attorney General of California, and then after that, then and the Biden administration, I think he was promoted to Health and Human Services Secretary. Is that right?
Yes, and he was the one that created the one app, and he's the one on the record. There's videos of him saying we need to speed it up. We need to make this an assembly line on migration. We need to go faster. And the one app became the number one, basically, part of the underground cartels and all kinds of criminal heads that use the one app to move children and millions of people across the border. When all of this is tied up, all of this connection are tied up, you're going to have one of the largest conspiracy to defraud the federal government and to defraud the money and the assets and the value of the federal government and its people, us, the citizens of America. And that's going to really put a nail into anybody that's trying to evade the conspiracy. Obama will be brought to justice, whether it's by the end of next year, middle of next year, whatever it's going to be. It has to happen, because you cannot commit so many crimes and get away with it. And another thing, there is one president that died in destitution, and his name is Ulysses Grant. He is the only president that died without a penny in his pocket, and he was completely penniless. And he was working his grounds as a farmer when he died after he was president of the United States.
Well, he made a little bit of money on doing his memoirs, though. I mean, that helped restore a little bit of his family fortune.
Yeah, by the time he did, he did not have the time to enjoy the money that he,
That's true.
That he did have.
But he did that, I think, because he had throat cancer, and I think he did that for his family, because children, that was so.
All right, so we are getting to the hour. I know a lot of people have to get off. I think we'll just go around. Absolutely, he is going to be. There's going to be justice for him. I think on so many levels. There's treason. There's trying to take down this country. I mean, the list goes on. But the reason I feel that way even more is because Trump doesn't say things that he doesn't mean, and he's been saying, we've been seeing I guess they're truths or tweets or whatever they are, him saying that there's going to be justice for him. And I am especially looking forward to, aside from the real justice, I'm looking forward to the emotional justice when it comes out that Michelle is a man, and all the people who run around saying how beautiful she was. So I'll leave it at that.
I want to throw my 2 cents in here on this. Yes, I do believe. I think Obama is very likely the first one that's going to go down, because if you can get to Obama, you can get to anybody. And so Obama has to be.
And they already set the precedent by arresting Trump, so they can't say you can't do this, right?
Right. 100%. And see, now I don't know how you all feel, but I actually think that him losing the election in 2020 was deliberate. That you had to have the disparity between the economy that he created between 16 and 20 to the time, or 17 and 21 more accurately, to the time when Biden comes in. And I think that was a kind of a soft, controlled, but anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, if you look at what happened under Biden and saw everything collapse, that only solidified more support for Trump. And I absolutely believe that Obama has to go down, because if he doesn't go down, then, like you said, everybody's so damn cynical right now. I don't know. I have a difficult time even going on social media right now, because the cynicism is it's so thick. oh, nothing is going to happen.
Well, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise because you have all of these people that used to be, or they still claim they are supporters of Trump, and they are bashing because of the Epstein files, which I think it's naive. And I think it's by design, which is bringing to the surface even more people that you may think, hey, they were part of a bigger picture. They were really not MAGAs. They really don't care about America. They're just being placed into those spaces to give us, to bring people to something and then push it away. That's what he looks to me. I keep saying the same thing over and over. I only look up to one person only, and that is Donald J. Trump, and that's all I care. And I take my news directly from him. If everything disagree with what he says, I still believe he is the one that's right. Everybody else is wrong, because I learned to respect that man, and that man is Donald Trump. And
Frank,
I don't, it doesn't matter what anybody says. But unfortunately, there's people within the MAGA movement that they go, oh, yeah, Trump is an asshole. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. And I think that's so naive to do that. But I think many of them are doing it because they're getting paid.
Yeah. Can I inject something in there real quick? Because I know we're on a time crunch. I do agree with you, but I also don't necessarily. But I don't agree in a certain sense, because I don't pay attention to what he says. I pay more attention to what he does. And a lot of things that he does is he says things for effect to get people to react emotionally. For example, with the Epstein thing, everybody in their nobody on the left ever give a shit about Epstein until and in fact, they wanted it to go away until Elon Musk says, oh, well, Trump's in on the Epstein files. And now the whole freaking left wants him to release the files. And it reminds me of a quote in the movie G.I. Jane, when she goes into the CEO's office because she's being treated differently as a woman. She's like, look, you can't treat me different. Treat me the same so that I can earn their respect. And he looks at her. He says, one standard. He says, yeah, treat me no better, no worse. She says, all right, you're going to get everything you want. Let's see if you want what you're going to get. And I think that is where the Democrats and the modern left and a lot of the neocon right is right now.
Yeah,
Laura, what about you?
I'm just going to close with my 2 cents here. So, the fact that Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, 3 powerful generational outer planets, are all in alignment with each other. It's a time where exposure, reckoning, and reset are demanded. I mean, it's inevitable. But the only clincher would be if they're seeking amnesty, that there would be backdoor negotiations in order to save face to the public. But accountability and arrests or whatever they're going to do with these characters is definitely imminent. It's just what we hear might be different than what's actually happening behind the scenes, because they are seeking amnesty, and there's a lot waking up within all of this that are either rerouting or people that have been blackmailed, that have been recorded doing nefarious activity under some sort of spell, would have to come clean for the people to have a certain level of compassion, because as we know with like Diddy and some of those victims, they're so disassociated, they don't even know what they're doing. They're doing things that a human soul wouldn't even know to do, only a demon. So we have to have that larger conversation to help assist souls that have been captured, hijacked, and used and possessed, in order to really see who's left standing.
I think that's true. I think that's absolutely true. And I think a lot of people are, even if they committed an act one time, they're compromised, and they may never have committed another act, but they still have that blackmail material being held over them. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who will get, they will make deals, because at the end of the day, I did an interview with Jim Willey a couple weeks ago, and he said, would you rather have your country back and have none of these people face justice, or have or lose your country and get all the people that you want to have justice face justice? And I said, well, that's an easy choice for me. I'll take my country and then let them skate. But I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But I think there may be, people need to be prepared for this. There may be some people that you want to see justice who don't see justice, or you don't have the appearance of justice being had at the on the surface level. So because they're actually going to turn state's evidence against some of these other people. So, how it turns out, who knows? But I think the big people, we are definitely going to see them go down. Guys like Obama and people like that.
Yeah. So I know that I'd be remiss if I didn't talk right now and give a plug to Mel's documentary that we've all been working on, Dear Mr. President. I don't know, Mike, are we able to queue up the trailer? I'm not sure what everybody's timeline is. I'd love to get it in.
I don't think you put it in the email you sent me.
No, I can send it right now. Yeah, because we let's see. I'll get that for you and get that just so that we've got it on this for anybody who watches the replay of it. Here we go. And all righty. You should have it in a minute. Okay. All right. You should have it. We'll queue it up.
Just waiting. It's an email, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Just waiting.
And of course, anybody out there who, we're still looking for help. Anybody who knows some small mom and pop patriotic theaters that may want to do a screening of this, where, we're looking at this month to get as much support as possible to show this movie.
Okay, ready to roll.
All right, cool. Got it. Get it up there. Okay.
All right.
Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President. Dear Mr. President. When did freedom of speech become a crime? In the land of the free, voices are vanishing, opinions are policed, truth is under fire. They say it's about safety, I say it's about silence. Who's watching the watchman? Who's filtering your feed? Who benefits from your silence? From the classroom to the newsroom, from Silicon Valley to Washington, D.C. Who decides what you can say?
Censorship.
Censorship. Censorship.
The censorship.
Censorship. It's a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years.
Our First Amendment is under assault, not just by big tech, but by government agencies. Voices are being silenced.
A world without censorship would mean we can freely expose the elections and, of course, child trafficking. I believe the American spirit would kick in if they had access to the real information.
We've had channels taken down from nearly every form of social media. We knew when you uttered the term fake news that you were up to something different. We're honored to contribute to this documentary on censorship.
I have only one thing to ask. I just only want to see some accountability from somebody. Just pull that pin and throw that grenade already, buddy. That's all every American wants to see, is just some accountability for the crimes against us all. Thank you, sir. And long live the Republic.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. All right, everybody. Remember, it's dearmrpresident.net. Share it, spread it around. And like I said, just contact me if you have, I know a couple of people put some things in the chat. So thank you very much for some possible theaters. Any last comments?
I'm good.
No.
Good to see you all.
Nice to meet
another stimulating.
Ron and Frank.
Laura, go watch
The only
that
comment-
and let me know what you think.
The only comment I have, I want to leave Mike and Ron with that, and Laura, you, Elisa, is that when I plugged all the information that I know into an AI in regards to the transition of the financial, it gave me that things may start to happen once it hits or passes, once gold hits or passes $5,500, which I don't think we are too far away from it, right? Because we have $3,400 right now, roughly. But that's an indicator. And I think that gold may very well reach that price towards the end of August or September, from what I can see. Wow. I mean, I'm no analyst. I just analyze the data like I analyze code. I used to code. That's all I just take data and I evaluate it. And I might be completely wrong, but that's what I.
No, I think you're right. I think August 23rd, by the way, Frank, is a date to watch. Just
there you go. So
watch that date for gold.
I will, and watch the gold, because I think once gold goes to approaching the 4,900, 5,000 and pushes through that barrier, that's when the game is going to start. That's what I sense. I don't know how to explain it, but that's my input on that.
So,
I think you're right.
Last question, Frank and Mike. The gold hitting that first, or the RV and the reevaluation happening?
Well, the RV can happen without the gold standard being implemented. It can happen on its own because it can be initially fiat, and then it can be linked to QFS accounts that are going to be gold backed. So when the transition happens, your funds become part of the new system. But I think that I think there has to be some sort of public crisis between now and that date that I was given, August 23rd, where there's a reason to switch to, let's say, a gold-backed currency. And keep in mind, I don't forget who it was. Somebody, I think it was on this show last week, reminded us the Federal Reserve is meeting in Jackson Hole August 21st, August 22nd, and August 23rd. And when you come to a conclusion, your final statement at the end of a summit is the definitive, this is what happened at the summit thing. So I got a feeling that that's a very important date. But there should be, in order for that to be really significant in terms of switching to a gold-backed currency or something, there has to be some chaos between now and then. So let's watch.
And they're meeting today again. They're meeting today also, the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think Powell is gone before the 23rd. I think that maybe his last act as Fed chairman.
But last week, that was for the first time the index of the dollar went down by a couple of percentage points, which is a big deal. I mean, it's a 97 cents. A lot of people, it's not a big, it's a lot going from $1 to 97 cents, just 3 cents. It's really important what happened. And also last week, there was the application of XRP to become a chartered bank.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna wait on the response of that. So all of these are connecting the dots, and so that's the territory, right? We don't get to see this unless you have all that info in front of you, and then you have the map. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it's going to happen," but things need to happen in a certain order. Certain things need to happen in order for the final outcome, where hopefully we relieve the pressure, the financial pressure that every single American is experiencing today, regardless of how much you have in your bank account. Things are not looking good for many Americans, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully we got to get to that place. Otherwise, it's going to be really bad for everybody. So I think we are close to some sort of relief, which will continue in 2026, and the final ruling of 2026 by FinNet for all of the blockchain, which is going to be the first quarter of 2026. Then the other law that's going to be passed in September. After the Genius Act, there's going to be another act passed in September, which is going to define more the rules of the exchange in this digital system of cryptocurrency. So there's a lot of things happening that give not only me but many people hope. It's just that also I want this to happen tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I want. I want tomorrow, but I know it's happening. And eventually we're going to get there. And that's the best way. You don't want to throw the baby in the water and everything out and do it too fast. I think these are essential steps that need to be done cautiously in a way that everybody, you maximize the benefit. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the point that I was making earlier. It's like this whole thing is not going to happen overnight, and I think so many people just want it to happen now, and they don't see that it's going to have to be incremental.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, great show. Thank you so much, and thank you for tuning in today, everyone. And we'll see you next week, Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye. Great to meet you, Ron.
Hey, you as well. Frank, are we live?
Yep.
I'll wait till we're off.
And Elisa, hit end, hit stop.